Okay, here we go. GM. This is one that I've been following quite a bit that I have not posted any videos on yet. I've had some successful trades over the summer on it. Um, the biggest thing going here, we're looking at a weekly chart. I think I've got this one pegged down pretty well. Um, Coming off the low after they reissued the company, it technically became a new company. Uh, that's its low in its new history. I don't use a monthly chart on this one because there's not enough data. It hasn't been in the market, the secondary markets, long enough. But as you can see, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, probably wave 4 here, and wave 5 as well. Now, once it reaches this peak, it comes down. We'll have a corrective pattern. I believe this is the number 2. I've debated with myself several times where one actually ends, either here or possibly here. But in either case, I believe that this is a flat correction. GM seems to do a lot of them, and it also in the sub trends, I've noticed a lot of double tops seem to kick it off, like right here, 4078, and another 4078 right back to back in 2 weeks, and that seems to be the kickoff pattern. So far, GM overall is in good financial shape. It's pretty well positioned. So as far as shorting a car company, with this one, you have to be careful with it. However, there's some major technical things going on here. So long term right now, being at the market's warning correction, I feel like shorting it is a pretty safe bet for me. Of course, I'm not a professional financial advisor. If you do the same thing that I do, your losses are your own. I'm not responsible for your actions. Anyway, it would appear that there's been a major head and shoulders top broken from here being the end of the left shoulder, end of the right shoulder, and then the breakthrough here, which came on pretty high volume. Volume looks good for this kind of pattern. And as you can see, my main indicator, the MACD, as of so far this week, has marked the new lows. And the relative strength, if you notice, has broken its most conservatively drawn trend line, has met resistance against it. And there is a little bit of an uptick on it here, but the most reliable signal that I've had on this indicator is the support trends that I explained. STO has some mild divergence here too. So given how GM, in my experience, moves, it loves to do these deep correcting flats, like the B wave, deep just completely retraces the A wave. So I'm a little hesitant. I'm more careful with this one. But what I would expect would be that this is just a picture perfect head and shoulders top. I would expect it to trade on up, back up to around about 32, it would seem. Maybe even a little bit higher. It's not completely unusual for these to break back into the neckline. It's just how far. If it really gets up in there, breaks the downtrend, then I would worry. The main thing, this is a consumer discretionary stock. It's very, very sensitive to economic conditions, and it tends to trade with the market. When the market begins to bottom, that's when you start to look to invest in these kinds of stocks. So we have a little bit of reason to think that the trend would be slowing, but based on the MACD here, I wouldn't expect it to completely reverse and then start to break new highs. That would be a surprise. Now, let me get down to the daily. This is a more recent view. I should back it up to where it peaked. get an idea of where the MACD is. There we go. There's the 4078. You can see the Head and Shoulders here. I need to revise my line on this one. It should be around in here. Heavy volume as it broke through. Tell you what, I'll just go ahead and do that. Now we need to check this out here and here. So that would be a larger priority at the moment than revising the lines. Okay, let's bring us up to the center screen here. I'm going to lean in here and try to get a really good view of it. Yeah, that's beginning to look like it. There is some positive divergence here on GM. They're going to be reporting earnings here in the next few days, and if you've been paying attention to the markets, car sales have been pretty darn good over the past few months. But another thing that I'd like to point out, consumer expectations have been lagging severely, and this is a consumer discretionary stock, and you always have to keep in mind, and I have arguments with people about this all the time, it's not what the economy is doing right now. It's what most investors think the economy will be doing 3, 6, 7 months down the road, or 2, 3 years down the road. With the overall bleak economic data that we've been getting, employment's been okay, but there's more to it than just that. And hopefully in the next few days I can start showing you how I weigh the economic cycle versus the market cycle. That for you people that sit here and watch me do technical analysis thinking, oh, you're reading tea leaves, things like that, there's a little bit more to it. I want a general idea before I even begin my technical analysis of knowing where the economy versus the market is headed in general. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this on back down. And I'm going to take this into Flash and revise my head and shoulder line here on the daily chart. So this right here would be the more conservatively drawn line. As you can see, it was back in September whenever I first did that. Since then, it had what could be seen as a false break. It came back up, but overall the pattern still held. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this down with the new data. I'm still going to try to stay on the conservative side here and put it from where I can see these red bars down here at the bottom. That completes the shoulders. And try to put it around the closes, and then bring this down. It'll lower the pattern target a little bit more. And now I'm going to, since these are both the same, I'm going to try to get right at about the middle. 70, shot right over 78, didn't I? There it goes. And then bring down my line. And now we can stick this here to where the break is, and that should project my break, which, according to this pattern, that's pretty significant. What would I expect out of this right now? This is a decent signal. I would expect GM to probably do well with their report. I believe it comes out next week. I don't know exactly off the top of my head right now. So yes, there could be significant upward momentum with it, although today it's not looking that Great. It seems to be somewhere in the middle of the day right now. Another thing I'd point out here, we definitely have positive divergence on the STO, which there, as I pointed out, MACD has some positive divergence. Not the best looking one that I've seen, but enough to at least justify a little correction, probably to test resistance against the bottom of this major head and shoulders pattern. If the STO closes above 20 today, that would be considered a buy signal. Now, let's go to our 2 hour here. I'm going to take a long view. And as you can see, it would appear that there's also divergence here. It's moving up pretty well. It's already into oversold territory. So I would expect the momentum to begin to slow here. As you can see, this here is what will be the right shoulder of the head and shoulders pattern, or left, depending on how you want to put it. This here was also a subtrend, which what I would call a subtrend pattern, which looks like it came pretty close to making this target. It's in the resistance zone right now. Oh, it's going to be kind of hard to debate. I'm going to debate because we have very close, just splitting hairs divergence. I want to zoom in on this just a little bit and see how close. Ooh. Yeah, best I can tell that. Yeah, I'd call that divergence. Okay, so we now have it on the 2 hour chart as well. And if it's showing on this, smaller charts would almost certainly be showing it. So, just to keep with the steps, 30-minute, 15-day. Well, surprise, surprise. There is divergence here, but there's also short-term divergence as well. So we've got enough things going against us, well, enough things popping out that it's really going to have to wait and see how it plays out kind of thing. That high was 95. We've got another one here, so at this point I'd have to go to wave count, and based on what I'm seeing, that could be a zigzag. In this particular case, I would like to wait and see if the bar closes with MACD crossover. This is simple divergence versus what looks like a lane style divergence. Not quite, but it's at the very least a 2-point divergence. The relative strength broke back up through its resistance. If it comes down and tests and starts up again, that may be more continuation. There is the 200 moving average pretty close, and this would appear to be some sort of pattern here. Looks like it's going to be good for at least $1, which it met. These patterns can double, so if it goes $2, let's get down here and see where it would have broken. I don't see any volume spikes, so it would be absolutely convincing of it. Now, this is an interesting one here. 5-minute, 6-day. Okay, well, I would think that this right here, this could be a 1. It pushed on up to new highs, had very serious divergence. On GM, I'd have to say there's too many conflicting signals for me to get into this right now. This would definitely be a watch and wait situation. I particularly want to see how earnings go. And I've got somebody here that's needing my attention. So he went right back to sleep. Okay. Let me just back it up here and see what I would fall back on just real fast. Maybe he didn't fall back to sleep. Okay, here's what I fall back on. Being I've already got another one that I'm watching, it seems to have more promising signals. I probably would not look at GM until I see either one of two things, perhaps both. Ideally, I want to see resistance here around about 32. Failure on these indicators. And I'd want to see I'd want to see how earnings turn out. If they give a good report, that might be just enough optimism for enough buying to come in that it'll push it up to test resistance. And thinking about it right now, yeah, that's what I'd look for. I believe earnings will probably be pretty good, and that's probably going to be enough to sit off the momentum to bounce it into this 32 area. And if it meets resistance with the pattern and gives off reversal signals on the intraday charts, ideally I'd like to see the STO weaken, perhaps even getting oversold here, but well, it's possible it could push that high. And then I get intraday reversal signals, and I would act on those intraday signals. Since I'd be so close to the pattern, I'd want to trade anyway. So this one, I'm just going to file away for the moment and be looking to sell it short, ideally around about the 32 level. Okay, that's my plan on this one.